today we are going to be doing something called acceleration training. Now, all acceleration training is, I'm going to be teaching you guys a lesson, all right? And I'm teaching you before I even teach the lesson to everybody else, all right? Now, the reason why it's called acceleration training is because you guys are going to be my helpers for tomorrow to help teach this lesson to the rest of the class. So, our lesson is going to be on adding fractions and mixed numbers together. Okay? Now, before we begin, we have a few vocabulary words that we need to go over. Now, the first vocabulary word we have is numerator. What is the numerator?
Oh, it's the top one of the fraction.
The top number of a fraction. So let's say I have a fraction line. The numerator on top, I'm going to pick a number. Let me see.
1.
Let's do 1. We're going to do 1. What's going to be my numerator? Now the numerator tells me
How much is in all? No, how much is the amount?
How much has been taken away?
not taken away, but how many pieces?
Are left.
Or minus?
Not minus. Okay. When we're looking at the numerator, we're looking at how many pieces we're focused on. How many pieces we are focused on. Now, if we had a picture of a fraction, kind of like, let me see. If we had a picture of a fraction like this, the numerator would be the one that is
Shaded.
the one that's shaded. So the one that we're focused on, or you can think in your head, shaded. Okay? So the numerator
Would be 1/6.
1 is the numerator. Now the denominator would be the number that is,
No, 6. It's the total.
so the denominator would be total pieces.
Like how many in total?
Total pieces or in all. I like when you guys said in all. So total pieces or in all. You put that.
And also the denominator, it does not change.
The denominator does not change when you're adding.
But when you subtract,
No, wait. Finish my sentence for me. When you're adding,
it changes.
when you're adding fractions together with the same denominator,
If you add
they do not change.
But will you change it if you did it with the mixed fraction?
It depends on what the denominator is, and that's what we're going to be learning about today. Matthew. Alright, so we went over what a numerator is and what a denominator is. Now, what I'm going to be teaching you guys about are two different properties for adding fractions and mixed numbers with the same denominator. So, let me erase this. So, the first one is called commutative property. Commutative property. Now, commutative property is when you have a set of fractions, for example, 3/5, and you're adding it to 1/5, you have your equation there, 3/5 plus 1/5. So commutative property is you are adding the same two fractions together, but you're switching their spots. So instead of 3/5 plus 1/5, that's correct. It'll be 1/5 plus 3/5. Remember, quotient is for division. You have to remember that because you always, what I've noticed with you, Jonathan, is that you're always saying it's the quotient, it's the quotient. The quotient is the answer for division. It is not the answer for fractions. Now, commutative property in fractions. Look, I have a 3/5 and I have a 3/5 over here on this side. I have 1/5. I have 1/5 on this side. I have my addition sign. I have my addition sign. The only difference is what, Jatari?
They mix. They
What's going on with my numbers?
still in the same place. place?
It's not that they're in the same place.
They switched.
They switched places.
They switch places. They switch the order. You see, this one I'm gonna name
But
it
the same
A,
answer?
and this one I'm gonna name it B. Well, which one's over here first?
B and then A.
B, and
And
then
then
A.
A. Because they're mixed.
So all we did was we switched the order, but the answer will always come out the same. Now, this is commutative property. What I'm going to show you next is associative property. Associative property includes parentheses. So, for example, I have 1/4 plus, and I'm going to put a big parentheses, 1/4 plus 2/4. Do you see it? Here's my equation. Now, associative property, you're writing the fractions in the same order, but now the parentheses is going to be around two different numbers. So the parentheses are around the back two numbers. When I rewrite the same numbers, this time the parentheses are going to be in the first two numbers, around the first two numbers.
So
It's
you
like
have
something
to-
in the parentheses have to be first and then add them up and then.
Okay, we will go over that in a minute. So I'm writing down 1/4, it's the same. The plus is going to be the same. 1/4 is going to be the same. My plus is the same. 2/4 is the same. But look, I have my parentheses around these two. Now I'm going to do my parentheses around these two. But then when you add them up, it is going to equal the same amount.
Because
This
you're
is
doing it in a different way.
associative property. Yes, they're in the same order, but now you're just doing them, you're adding them in different orders.
It's like 1/4 plus 1/4 is equal to 2/4.
And then you're adding it to this 2/4. So yeah, you're gonna equal the same amount. So associative property, the parentheses are in a different spot, but you're adding it up and it's gonna equal the same.
But instead of repeating it just in a different way, can you do it like in smaller numbers and do it more times?
No, it does not work that way. For associative property, you're rewriting all the numbers and all the operations. The parentheses is the only thing that changes. Now, Angel, you made a very good point. You said whatever's in the parentheses, you have to do first. Yes, that is true. Now, something else that they need you guys to remember for tomorrow, because you're going to have to tell everybody this. Associative property and commutative property for adding fractions only works.
By adding and multiplying.
Only works for adding and multiplying. It will not work for division or subtraction. Alright.
It's like subtraction if you like subtracting is like the same number.
Alright, so in front of you guys, I gave you all a sheet of paper, correct?
Yes.
We are going to do number 1 together. So let's write this down. Number 1 has parentheses around the 3/4 and the 1/4. I got one right here. It's okay.
I was gonna say
So it's around the 3/4 and the 1/4. Alright. So let's write it down on a whiteboard. Let's work it out. We have in parentheses 3/4 plus 1/4 close parentheses plus 2/4. Make sure you write it big enough to where you'll be able to see it really well. So write it big. 3/4 plus 1/4 plus 2/4. Now, this is what we're going to do first. Angel, what was that you said about the parentheses? Whatever word is in the parentheses, that's what you do first. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add 3/4 plus 1/4. Now, something that we have to remember, this is what Joshua was trying to tell us earlier. When you have two denominators that are the same, and you're adding your denominator, what, Joshua?
your denominator cannot change.
It does not change. So I already know my denominator is going to be a 4. So now all I have to do is, what, Joshua?
Add 3 plus 1 is the
denominator is telling us how many pieces total. Our numerator is telling us how many pieces we shaded in. So when we have a total of 4 and 4 pieces are shaded in, what is that telling us? We have a, let us light bulb shine. No, equivalent means the same. Equivalent, when we're thinking of equivalent fractions. I have 4, watch this. I have 4 pieces, just like the denominator said. All 4 of them are shaded in. That means I have a what? A whole. So this 4/4 that we have, when we added 3/4 plus 1/4, what are we going to turn it into? 1 whole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch out my 4/4 and I'm just going to write 1 because I know 4/4 is equal to 1. So then we have our plus sign here, and I'm just going to drop my plus sign. And I have one more fraction. What is this fraction?
2/4.
2/4. So now I have 1 plus 2/4. Correct. Your answer will be 1 and 2/4. 1 and 2/4. So that's what we got for our answer. This did really, really good. So let me see you guys. Okay, now our parentheses was with 3/4 and 1/4. Okay? Let's write that down though, right here. 1 and 2/4. And now I want you to erase your board. And we're going to write the same equation now, but this time our parentheses is going to be around different numbers. We have our 3/4 plus 1/4 plus 2/4. Now our parentheses were around our 3/4 and our 1/4. What do you think our parentheses is going to be around this time? Listen to my question. You're not listening to my question. The first time we had parentheses around the first 2 numbers.
So now you put the parentheses on the last.
Now we're going to put the parentheses around the last 2 numbers.
So you have to add those first because you have to add the parentheses, the fractions that are in the parentheses, you have to add those first.
Good job. We're going to add the fractions that are in the parentheses first because whatever's in the parentheses is what you do first. So 1/4 plus 2/4. We have the same denominator, 4 and 4. So what's our denominator going to be?
4.
4. We have 1, yes, 1 plus